How's it going, everybody? CJ here, back in another video. We're doing our first thoughts today. We're doing this first thoughts on the new Omnath that just got spoiled. So this card looks a lot of fun. But before we get into that, if you want to support the channel, check down below. We got a Patreon link. If you want to join the Patreon, you can check us out on Discord, hang out with us, talk with us, play games with us, do all that. And also, just got an affiliate link with TCG Player. So if you check in the link down below, if you want to buy any of the cards that I mentioned in this video, if you want to build a new Omnath or build a Lands Matters deck, then link down below. If you click through there, then you're using my affiliate link and I get a little kickback from TCG Player whenever you buy cards. Helps the channel, and it'd be great if you guys could help support the channel in that way. So let's get into this video. New Omnath. Very cool card. ETB, you get to draw a card, play a land. It's got Landfall. First land, you get to gain 4 life. Second land, you get mana, 4 mana. And third land, it's you deal 4 to each of your opponents and their planeswalkers. Seems pretty good. This card is very, very powerful, and obviously the best way to build this deck is going to be very strong Lands Matters theme. So you're going to want to be playing a lot of lands. You're going to want to get a lot of landfall triggers. And that's the gist. So I pulled aside some cards. Like I have my own lands deck, so I went through that and came up with a good idea about a way to build a deck along with some other cards that I'd shove into the deck. So first off, I want to talk about actual lands. One of the best things about this new Omnath is that fetch lands become play a land, play Omnath, play a fetch land, gain 4 life, crack the fetch land, go get another land, get 4 mana. It's awesome. That's huge. So you're going to want to run every single fetch land there is, including like Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse. You're going to want to run stuff like Myriad Landscape, Crows and Verge. Those are all going to be fantastic in this. The panoramas are probably even worthwhile, like the Bant Panorama and what's another one that's in its colors? I'm just completely blanking. Just any of them without black. Actually, you can even run the black panoramas. You can run every panorama in this because they're not specific. They don't have the color symbol on them. So you can run all the panoramas, all the fetches, and Prismatic Vista, Fabled Passage, all of that, and just get as many triggers as you can. It's a really easy way to go about building this deck. Really, I mean, not cheap, but it helps. I mean, a lot of them actually are very cheap. The only ones that aren't are the actual fetch lands. Those are pricey, but they'd be very, very strong in the deck. Another land that you can throw in here is Ghost Town. It's really good with Burgeoning. So it's 0 mana, you return it to your hand, you can activate it during an opponent's turn. And so with Burgeoning in play, you can just keep replaying it every time your opponents play a land. Seems very, very strong in the deck, just being able to gain 4 life every turn. Each one of your opponent's turns are gaining 4 life. Seems good. Another land I want to mention is Aboro. Great card. Lets you play it. You can play it, tap it for mana, bounce it back to your hand, replay it. If you have extra land turn, like additional lands, like if you can play additional lands per turn, seems like a very good card in the deck. Just making sure you always have a land to play for the additional lands. You can throw in the stuff like Wasteland and Strip Mine just because good utility lands. You can do the Dark Depths combo with Vesuva or Thespian Stage. This is just very good just because lands matter in this deck. Field of the Dead. Field of the Dead seems like probably one of the best cards you can throw in this deck. You throw in all the fetches, you throw in the Triomes, Shock lands, you throw in any fetchable lands, all different names, play Field of the Dead, and each fetch land's making you 2 zombies, along with giving you 4 life and 4 mana. That seems unbelievable. That's very, very powerful. Flagstones of Trocaire. It's kind of a fetch land because there's a lot of ways to sacrifice lands in lands decks. So this will give you a land to sacrifice that goes and gets another land. Kind of fetches. Glacial Chasm is just a fun one. I run it in all my lands decks. It's very powerful. It's really fun to crop rotation into. Like if someone's gonna try to kill you at you can crop rotation, instant speed, go get Glacial Chasm and stop them. Mazavith, another good protection card. You can throw in Dried Arbor. It's a creature and it's land. I mean, it's just kind of cool. Valakut, if you run something like Dried of the Elysian Grove or Prismatic Omen, and you can escape shift and just bolt everybody to death. That seems pretty powerful. And so those are just a few of the very strong utility lands that you could throw into this deck. Just a good way to go about building the deck, because you're going to want a lot of non-basic lands. This is going to be a deck that's probably got like 50 to 55 lands in it. It's going to be very, very land heavy. And obviously, you're going to be wanting to play more than one land a turn. So you got cards like Burgeoning. This is technically not more than one land a turn, because it's still one land during your opponent's turn, but it's additional land drops, which is really good. So cards like Burgeoning, you could throw in Wayward Swordtooth. You could throw in Azusa, Lost But Seeking, get an extra 2 lands a turn. Dried of the Elysian Grove, as I already said. Oracle Moldiah lets you also play them off the top of your library. Exploration, very good one, just reprinted recently. Pick up your copies now. Rites of Flourishing, it's kind of a group hug card, but it gives you extra card draw and extra lands, and you're going to have the bigger advantage when it comes to playing more lands, so might as well. And Mina and Den the Wildborn, they also let you return a land to your hand, so that gives you a way to replay lands over and over and over to get more value. Then some other cards that let you tutor out like the non-basic lands or just ramp you in general. Specifically the non-basic ones though, you got stuff like Scape Shift, which would be crazy with Omnath in play. Crop Rotation, which I already mentioned. Realms Uncharted is a very good one. Tempted Discovery. This card is great if you're in a play group that will be tempted. If you're in a play group that won't be tempted, then it's not really worth running. Nylea's Intervention. This lets you fill your hand with non-basic lands or fill your hand with any lands. And that just gives you cards to play off your additional land drops. Harrow, great card. So you have Flagstones in play. You can harrow it. Sack it and go and get 3 lands. One of them enters. I think the Flagstones actually enters untapped, right? Flagstones. Oh, it enters tapped. So you would end up getting 3 lands, one of them being tapped. Still very good. Pier's Whim. Make your opponents all sacrifice an artifact or enchantment while you go get a land. Seems good. You can throw an Hour of Promise. You could throw in just obviously Kodama's Reach and Cultivate. Good to get extra lands. Springbloom Druid and Dreamscape Artist. Also very good. Courser Crewfix is just a decent card with all these land triggers. I should wait for that one. But yeah, all these are ways to play more than one land a turn, and you're gonna want as much of that as possible, because the more landfall triggers you can get, the better. Especially the more landfall triggers you can get in a turn. Next up, we have the landfall creatures, or creatures that are affected by the cards that get better the more lands you have to play. You got stuff like Courser Crewfix, of course. I just mentioned that. Is getting Lotus Cobra, which is getting reprinted inside Zendikar Rising with a really cool promo version, full art, box up, or whatever it's called. So gotta check that out if you don't have one. It's going to be cheaper, so just hold off and then buy it then. You got Royal Elemental. This card's very cool. Just let you steal creatures whenever a land enters. Avenger Zendikar. Everybody knows this card. Great card in the lands deck. Omnath, Locus of Rage. Why not run another Omnath? I mean, also Omnath, Locus of Royal. Both of them are very good cards in this deck, because one of them just draws you cards off your lands, and the other one just makes you dudes off your lands. Nesting Dragon, another way to make dudes. This card is really good. This card is probably going to become very expensive after the set comes out. Tatiova, obviously, card draw and life gain on basically what is Landfall. Good card. Tyler's Tracker, investigates, gives you card advantage. Rampaging Ballast makes you dudes. Then you got stuff like Titania, which works really well with your fetch lands, because whenever land you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you create a dude, so all your fetches net you a guy along with your 4 life and 4 mana. Seems good. Then Hornagreed, another really good one just to draw cards. You could also throw in like I don't know, you could throw in Girapur Orrery, actually. That's I should have mentioned earlier. That's another way to play an additional land each turn. And yeah. You can also throw in Ghostly Flicker. That seems like a good one in this deck. If you play your land for turn, you cast Ghostly Flicker, you flicker one land, and you flicker Omnath, so you draw a card and you get 4 mana. Basically, it's just a ritual. That seems pretty good. Or if you need a board wipe, you can Ghostly Flicker, flicker 2 lands, and play your land for turn, play Ghostly Flicker, flicker 2 lands, and then deal 4. It's 4 to your opponents and 4 to each Planeswalker, so Planeswalker board wipe, I guess. But now we're going to go talk about cards that are just good in a lands deck. Good in this deck, a deck where you're trying to play as many lands as possible. Trade Routes. This is probably one of the best cards for this deck. Basically, just lets you pay 1 to return a land to your hand, so you can replay it over and over again. Or if you're getting really flooded and you just want to draw cards, you can discard your lands to it and draw cards off of it. You got Rada, which lets you play lands off the top of your library, and it also lets you make a really big creature through pumping based on the number of lands you control. So if you have something like Nina and Den, you can make Rada big, you can bounce a land, give her trample, swing out. Nissa, Vital Force, very good card in the deck. If you could plus it 1, you plus once to get it up to 6. Then you just emblem. And then each land you're playing, you get to draw a card. Amazing. Life from the Loam. Awesome card. Especially when you're playing a lot of fetches and stuff. Just very powerful. There's other ways to get your lands back from the graveyard, like Crucible of Worlds and Ramanop Excavator. Both of these should be auto-includes. Crucible, they're both... Ramanop only has the 1 printing, but Crucible just got reprinted in 2019, M19. So it's relatively recent, but like after this, there's a good chance its price will go up. There's also a New Worlds promo, so I just picked up a copy of that because I love that art and I wanted to make sure I snagged one before the price jumped if it was going to happen. Then you also have stuff like Ren and 6 or Muldrotha the Gravetide, which lets you get a land back every turn. Ren and 6 is probably... Muldrotha's... They're both very good. They both let you get lands out of your graveyard. One goes to hand, the other one goes into play. But it's still just going to end up being your land for turn. And yeah. There's also... that could easily be a very, very powerful CDH deck, I think. It doesn't have black mana, or it doesn't have black in its identity, so it can't have a lot of the great tutors. But this deck can be one very, very amazing food chain deck. So you use food chain, and you can run all 3 of the cards that really work well with food chain, being Mist Hollow Griffin, Squee the Immortal, and Eternal Scourge. And so you just get one of them out. Just exile the food chain over and over and over again because you can cast it from exile. Net infinite creature mana. And then you just replay and sacrifice Omnath over and over and over again from your command zone. And you get to draw through your entire deck because of a ZTB. And then you just play Thassa's Oracle and win the game. Seems very easy. It seems like it could easily be a CDH deck, maybe a tier 2 CDH deck, but still very powerful. It's in the colors that are good at tutoring creatures and good at tutoring enchantments, so you're going to have a pretty easy time finding the pieces. I think this could be a very good CDH deck, and I may end up building it as a CEDH deck if I decide to build Omnath, because I don't think I'm going to take apart my current lands deck. But if I'm building Omnath, I'm going to be building it as a food chain Omnath. That seems like a very fun deck to build. And so that's what I got for Omnath. If you guys enjoyed this video, remember, comment down below what you're going to do with Omnath. If you're excited about him, if you're excited about having a new 4-color commander for the first time in a long time, I'm very happy about that. Hopefully there's more to come in this set. Like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Remember, if you want to build this deck, go down below, click on my affiliate link, and buy your cards then. That way, you get a little kickback to the channel, so that way I can improve the content. And check me out on Patreon if you want to. you can hang out with us in the Discord, and yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Peace out, everybody.